Hello, and welcome back to my garden. If you guys had seen my previous video, and a lot of you have, and I've gotten some new subscribers from that, thank you to all the new subscribers. Welcome to the channel, welcome to my garden. And you can follow along as I stumble along and try to build my garden here in growing zone 8B in eastern North Carolina. One of the things I talked about in my previous video, you saw that I had a problem with the drooping shade cloth, and it's been that way for a while. I've gotten some new shade cloth here. It's 90% shade cloth. It's quite heavy, and when it rains, and it's been doing a lot of that lately, the shade cloth gets even heavier, so it's been drooping down. And I needed some way to not have to hold it up. So I was thinking about getting 2 posts, and those spikes you put into the ground help hold the post up, and run a wire. And I was getting all sorts of crazy. How can I fix this? And do I have anything on hand? And sure enough, it dawned on me that I had a couple items laying around the garden that might work. And one of them was this landscape timber. Wasn't using it. It was just sitting, holding down some shade cloth over in the rose garden. And I thought, well, that might do the trick. The other item I had was a green fence post. You know, those cheap little metal ones you use to hold up some fencing of different heights and sizes, and you know the ones I'm talking about. Anyways, I drove the fence post into the ground. I attached it to the timber here, which is 8 foot tall, and as you can see, it's holding it up. My only issue or concern that I had was I only had one of those green fence posts, and the timber was kind of leaning towards the greenhouse. So I got a bit of paracord, and I tied it off to the fence post over here. So now this post is not going anywhere, and it's holding up my shade cloth, which is very exciting for me. So now I can stand underneath it like I am now, talking to you guys without having to hold up my arm to hold the thing off my head. And anyways, I'm standing right here next to this bench because this is my sort of cuttings bench, and this is where I've been raising a lot of my various cuttings for various plants and whatnot. And these grasses I am definitely going to do something with soon. I will hopefully be bringing you along for that. And I have a bunch of other various shrubs in various different stages of growth. And I think, by the way I've titled this video, you'll have figured out what I'm going to be doing today, which is planting up some of these shrubs. And the ones I'm going to be planting up are the baby gem boxwoods. Now I have, it looks like about 7 of these which are in a stage of growth that I feel comfortable planting them out in. But it is July and it is hot. So the question is, should I be planting them out? Probably not. Will I be planting them out? Yes. And here's my reasoning why. We've been getting quite a bit of rain. I think there's yet even more days of possible scattered showers coming up over the next few days, which is fantastic. And then after that, we may have 4 to 5 days of actual dry weather, followed by more rain. But I feel comfortable planting these out now because of A, the amount of rain we're going to be getting. Again, even if it's just scattered showers, it's still going to be keeping the ground moist. And B, where I'm going to be planting them, I'll show you in a second, is a very short distance from a hose. So it's very easy for me to give them a good watering every now and again if I feel they need it. The other thing is that boxwoods are fairly drought resistant once established. Yes, they're not going to be established now, but they'll start getting their roots into the ground now, hopefully, and getting settled in. So then theoretically, come the winter time, they'll have been settled in, they'll be ready for basically whatever Mother Nature throws at them, hopefully, and they'll take off growing. So, enough of my prattling. Let me go show you where we're going to be putting these. All right, here I am outside the veg garden, and I think it's in frame, I think it's in shot here. I have part of my boxwood hedge that I started growing a number of years ago when I first started the vegetable garden, and it's baby gem boxwoods, which is the variety of boxwoods I'm going to continue to plant along this fence line. The whole idea slash goal of the hedging is to eventually let it get up to about 4 foot tall, which is the height of the fence here, and to grow through it and basically make it disappear. I don't want to see the fence. I don't like the fence. The fence is a little ugly, but the fence was here to keep the deer out. It's pretty much done that for the most part. Every once in a blue moon, there's a brave deer who's hungry enough who does jump the fence, but for the most part, they just stroll on by because there's so many other things to eat in my garden here. So that's the goal of the hedge line here. So it's decorative, it's functional. So all of that being said, what I've done so far is I've cut back some of the grass, I've laid cardboard on top, and what I'm going to do on top of that is create a mound of compost and then plant into that. A lot of these plants, as you saw probably early in the video, are in small pots, so they don't have very big or deep roots yet, and I'm going to basically make the mound as deep as the pot, so you're looking about 6 to 8 inches. What will happen over time, probably in the next 2 to 3 months, if the heat and humidity and the rain continue, is all this cardboard will rot away. But that's okay, because it'll add a little nutrition to the ground, maybe, perhaps. I don't know. If you're an expert on cardboard and ground, you let me know in those comments below. But it'll definitely smother the grass beneath the dirt here, so I don't have to worry about it growing up through it. And it'll give the boxwoods a good planting medium to start off in. As I mentioned a billion times before, my ground is absolute crud for a long list of various reasons. So digging holes to plant each of these boxwoods into is not exactly ideal. Plus, the ground is very tough to dig into. So I'll be creating this mound much as I did when I started the boxwoods down there. I basically just put the plant on the ground, mounded compost around it, and they're doing quite well. They're much larger than they were when I first got them, and they're continuing to put on quite a bit of growth. About 6 inches of growth this year, which is pretty exciting. With all that being said, let me stop talking, drop some compost, and then we'll get to planting. And just like that, I'm done. I weeded underneath the 3 existing ones, pulled out a ton of grass and other weeds, added some fresh compost underneath these shrubs, which will help them grow. Now it's time to drop these in, and this will be relatively simple. It's just a matter of pulling back some of the fresh compost I'd put in, pop the baby out. Roots aren't too badly pot confined. Push the compost back around, and voila, done. I'm spacing these also about a foot and a half apart. I forget what the growth width is on baby gem boxwoods. I think it's something like 4 feet. But if I'm wrong, I'll leave that on the screen. And yeah, it's just a matter of pressing it all back in. Look at that, I'm getting new pots to put new cuttings into. I'm not measuring exactly. I know there's some gardeners out there that like to do very fine, very precise plantings. I figure if I'm too close or too far apart, nature will figure out a way to sort all that out. Oh, I don't want to be too far apart, but I think this will work just fine. I might have planted those a little too close together. That's okay. Like I said, it'll all work out in the end. At least I think so. I'm gonna put this guy right down here. And a lot of these, I don't know if I can get this here on screen here. The root balls are very small. Maybe 3 inches, 4 inches. And again, I put about 6 to 8 inches of compost down here, so it's just a matter of tucking that in. One more to go. There we go. These all look like they're gonna be okay. Well, here it is. The extension to my existing very short hedge that I'm planting here alongside the vegetable garden. It's a little hot out, and I'm a little tired, and I'm a little winded, and I've probably lost 5 gallons of water, but the job is done. And again, we're supposed to get more rain allegedly tonight, hence the reason I did this during the middle of the day as opposed to this evening when it probably would have been a little cooler, maybe, and the sun would have been going down, which would have been a little easier on me, but the job is done. This is important. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, all of these were from cuttings. I think at least I mentioned it, but all these shrubs were from cuttings, and probably in the fall I'll be taking more cuttings to maybe be able to plant out next fall. We'll see how fast they grow, or the following spring. But I'll be taking more cuttings, unless of course I hit the lotto, in which case I could buy, 1 gallon or 3 gallon plants to plant along, and they'd be growing so much faster, obviously, because they're bigger plants. Not that bigger plants actually grow faster, but they look bigger and fuller. So theoretically, they would grow up to the 4-foot height faster than these smaller cuttings. But either way, I'm babbling at this point. Covered everything with mulch, but before I did, I watered everything thoroughly. I didn't show you guys that because that's quite boring, and I'm sure many of you have tuned out of this video already. For those few of you who are sticking around, thank you very much. But I watered thoroughly. It aids the plant that the roots aren't going to be pushing out into dry soil. They'll be pushing out into the wetter compost, and they're going to be getting more rain, hopefully tonight, maybe not, but hopefully. Either way, the mulch is put on top to help retain that moisture. I have a long ways to go. Probably another, I don't know, 25, 30 feet to go before the end of the gate. So we will see. Eventually, hopefully, one day, possibly, I get the entire veg garden surrounded by a wonderful box hedge and dwarf yew pond down at the end. The front, of course, again, if you've been watching for a while, the front is covered with a different type of boxwood. I don't remember the name of that, but if I do, I'll leave it here on the thing. So eventually, the whole thing will look like an enclosed space, which will look nice, I think. Then my only worry will having to come out here with a hedge trimmer and trim up once a year. As always, please check out all the links below. If you'd like to save 5% on your next order from Epic Gardening, please use the code GROWING. Also, if you check out many of the other links below, I have links to nature hills and fast growing trees and a ton of other good stuff, honestly. But if you don't want to check out the links in the description below, head over to growinggreenfinger.com. Over to the resources page. Got a ton of links over there for you to check out. It's really hot. I'm really tired. My mouth is getting dry, which is not a good sign. So I'm going to wrap this video up, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.